Hello everyone, my name is Heather. Welcome back to my channel. Over the last week, I tracked every minute of my time every day for 7 days. So it wasn't perfect, but that's okay. I knew it wasn't going to be. I mentioned that I wanted to do this in my kind of long overview video of how I want to get my life together for 2023. My goal is to track my time for a week every quarter of the year. So first week of every quarter of the year, I might add to it and do it a little bit more as maybe little check-ins here and there. I just want to see how I'm actually spending my time versus how I want to be spending my time. So I had downloaded this app, actually re-downloaded it. It's called ATracker, and it is pretty neat actually. It's not super perfect. You can't track multiple things at once, which I get, but also the data is a little bit off because of it. I had downloaded it a long time ago, maybe a year and a half ago or so, and I realized I was just tracking time for the purpose of tracking time. There wasn't really an end goal behind it, but now I'm not going to be tracking my time every single day for no reason. You have to think about it. Like every time you switch an activity, you have to think, okay, oh, I need to end that whatever I was doing on this app and then start whatever I'm going to do again. And then there are certain things that just don't really have categories. Like I wasn't tracking my time in the bathroom. I didn't track when I was putting makeup on, getting ready for the show. If I was listening to a book while I was doing my makeup, that was one thing. But back to not being able to track multiple things at once. So sometimes I'd be watching TV and on social media, so I just let it be like visual media consumption rather than just social media. And then my sleep is more here than it probably actually is, because I would put it on sleep when I was trying to fall asleep, and then as I was sort of in bed, like waking up, trying to decide when I was gonna get out of bed for the day. So sleep is more, and it did actually make me think, do I need to track sleep every time? But now that I've done it for this first week, I feel like I have to do it for all the other weeks. So here is the breakdown of January 1st. So that's the first day I started tracking my time, all the way through yesterday, which is January 7th. So 7 days. You can see I spent a total of 137 hours and a half tracking my time. There are 168, I think I already did the math there. Yeah, 168 hours in a week. So that's about 30 hours that are just unaccounted for. So that's if I was prepping food that was already cooked. I do have a cooking category in here, but that the only time I actually tracked cooking was when I was doing a bunch of meal prep. So I think I'm actually going to change that category name to meal prep. So I didn't track if I was like heating up food unless I was doing something else at the same time. I didn't track, like I said, going to the bathroom, showering, if I was getting ready for something. My initial plan was to track when I was driving. I wanted to see just how much time I spent in my car driving. But the problem is I also sometimes will listen to an audiobook while I drive, and that was about half the time I was driving. Or if I was on the phone with someone like Tyler, that'd be like Tyler time, because I'm spending time connecting with him in that way. So I just opted to not track driving at all. But anyway, let's kind of go through this and see my baseline of what I was spending my time on this past week. I essentially went through all of that to say it is not technically every minute of every day for a week, because there were just times where I was doing things that didn't fit into those categories. So sleep was almost 60 hours. So we can actually look at the daily average for that. So my daily average of sleep was 8.5 hours. That wasn't actual sleep, like I said, because that does account, that's time where I'm trying to fall asleep and time where I'm sort of waking up, but that's not bad. That's not bad. So that was the most I spent. Most of my time was spent sleeping of the time that I tracked, which is pretty good. Sleep is important. I have a feeling that the next time I track my time like this, it's not gonna be that much sleep, because I anticipate being a lot busier the first week of April, because hopefully I'll have a job by then. The next thing that took up the next most amount of time was acting pursuits. So this past week, not only have I been going to rehearsals for my show that happens to open this Friday, The Revlon Girl. I've been going to rehearsals for that, but I also have been, I have had 2 gigs at UCSD Medical School. I've mentioned it during Vlogmas, but it's this job called being a standardized patient, where they basically have actors learn a bunch of facts about a patient and you have to portray the patient. Sometimes you even have to simulate like symptoms and things like that. But it's to help the medical students learn how to gather information, how to practice empathy and all that good stuff. So I've had 2 different patients I've been portraying over this last week. I was doing training and then I had a performance as well. So that accounted for acting pursuits. If I was doing anything for the show, I was counting that under acting pursuits this week as well. So that was 20, let's round down, 20 hours. That's like a part-time job. That was a lot of time spent on acting. Oh, the other thing, I had a callback. So that is for acting pursuits as well. And so when I was preparing for the callback, I put that in there. So I spent 21 hours on acting stuff. That's kind of cool. I also anticipate this number being lower, if not completely 0 by the first week of Q2, because again, hopefully I will be working as a therapist, so I won't be able to do standardized patient jobs anymore because those are always during the day. I don't know if I'll be in a show too, so I don't know if I'll have rehearsals or have to be preparing or memorizing lines or anything like that. So that might end up being 0 next time, which is okay. If you did watch my Getting My Life Together and my goals and everything for 2023, you know that I'm basically already achieving my acting goal for this year, which is to perform in 1 production. Already doing it, so I'm not stressing about anything else. It would probably be nice. Like, I would like to do 1 more show, in which case if I get what I want, I would probably be in rehearsals around that time I start tracking my time. Okay, so the third thing I spent, I need to figure out the best way to say this. The third most amount of time that I tracked was on time with Tyler, which was really nice. I feel like we've been needing to spend more intentional, dedicated time together, and I don't really have a baseline for this, unfortunately. Like, this is my baseline data. I just feel like in December, we weren't, I don't know, I think because of rehearsals and then all the studying I was doing for my comp exam, we just weren't spending a lot of time together. So we made an effort to spend more time together during this past week. Like, he came over early on, January 2nd, because he had the day off. And of course, pretty much all of my days essentially are days off right now. So yeah, we spent a really good amount of time. Then we spent a nice amount of time on Saturday, which was the last day I was tracking as well. So it does break down, like for acting pursuits, the average was 3 hours a day. Tyler time was just shy of 2.5 hours per day. So that's pretty good. I don't know how that time is gonna change. I would like it to be more, but that's okay. Like, I feel like that's a reasonable amount of time in a week for not living with someone. And again, it wasn't just like, oh, he's here and we're in the same room. It's like, no, we're both actively spending time together. If we were on Duolingo or something and not spending time together, then I would be tracking it under learning French and not Tyler time. I think what I did do though is if we were watching something together, rather than it be under visual media consumption, I did put that under Tyler time, because we're both taking in something that we could talk about, and we would talk about things as we watched it. Sometimes we'd pause it and be like, I think we watched the first episode of White Lotus and we had to pause it a couple times, just like, what are we watching? Okay. So yeah, Tyler time. The fourth most amount of time I spent on something was visual media consumption, 15 hours, which broke down to little more than 2 hours a day. My goal ultimately is to be spending less than 2 hours a day on visual media consumption. What is visual media consumption? How do I define it? That is watching YouTube, watching any sort of television on any sort of streaming platform, and also watching movies. So movies, of course, are long form content. So I know there were days that I spent a lot more than 2 hours and days that I must have spent less. This number is going to be lower. Having a job will mean I'm not sitting here trying to figure out what to do at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then like putting on YouTube, you know what I mean? So I know that number is going to be lower than 15, as it should be. I just think that's a lot of time. Maybe like 7 to 10 hours, I think, would be my goal. I should write these down. I'll write them down after. Okay. The fifth most amount of time I spent on something was reading. This is higher than I thought it was going to be, but I think because I actually finished 2 books this week. I did not start them this week, but I finished them this week. One of them was A Far Wilder Magic. So that was an audiobook that I was finishing up. I also finished Six of Crows on my Kindle. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I really got fired up to finish that one because I had to return it to the Libby Library tomorrow, I think. But then I was just on a roll by the end of it. I'm like, I need to finish it. So I did a lot of reading. I think 10 hours in a week is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So that was a daily average of an hour and a half. That's actually a lot of time. When I have a job, I don't know if I'll be able to do an hour 20 minutes a day. So it'll probably be less than 10 hours. Exercise, this was lower than I thought it was going to be, and that's because the days that I wasn't going to berries or cycle, I had intended on going for runs, but it was a rainy week, so I didn't go for runs. I don't know, I wanted to just stay inside and be cozy, but I'm okay. 3.5 hours is not, it's good. I usually do more, honestly. It's more like 6, so that's a lot less than I normally do. All right, so now we're getting into the minutia. Content creation, which would be filming, editing, posting YouTube videos, editing thumbnails and things like that. So I did get a video up this week, and I think all told the production of that took about 3 hours. Then the cooking I mentioned, I need to change that to meal prep because that's all that was. This was just one day, and to be honest, it was more than 2 hours and 36 minutes. I forgot to hit go when I actually started, so it's probably more like 3.5 hours. Writing should also be higher. I have a million excuses for not writing enough this week. It's probably all the acting gigs I was doing. I think it's a balance, right? And this is good for me to have this baseline. Although, now that I think about it, the next time I track my time to this extent for a full week, if all goes according to plan over the next month and a half, I should have that first draft done. Family friend connection. It's weird. This is another one that kind of like gets a little flubby because I'm currently doing a production with my friends. It just so happens that my friends are also in this production. So spending time with them on this project is friend connection. And then even afterwards, if we chat for a little bit, I wasn't like picking this up and going. It was just going under acting pursuits. So the only thing that is under here is I did a FaceTime check-in with my little sister. So we talked for an hour and a half, and that was really nice. And an hour and a half I think is pretty good considering I'm in a show right now. I think I think an hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on if I like go out for breakfast or dinner with friends. I think it's pretty good. Learning French, I definitely want that to be higher. I would love to spend more like a solid 30 minutes every single day on it, if not longer. So sometimes I would just pick up Duolingo and just do a quick like matching game, and that just takes a few minutes. So hey, I'm in the top 10 of the semifinals in the Diamond League, so we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Yeah, the daily average of that was 12 minutes of French a day. Housework. This was another one that I know I did more housework than this, but it was probably tracked under reading because I would be reading at the same time, or visual media content. So that's what I mean by the multitasking. It's not perfect. And then again, with the social media, I definitely spent more than 13 minutes on social media this week. That's for sure. In fact, yeah, so what do you mean my internet? I feel like at 2:30 for the past month and a half, at 2:30, my internet, my Wi-Fi like craps out for a little while. And they have the audacity to raise my bill. Well, that makes sense. So this is screen time, this isn't social media, but of the screen time that is social media, we've got 27 minutes. Wow, wait. That's actually not bad. Daily average, oh wait, no, hold on. That's the daily average. I did not spend only an hour and 34 minutes over the last week. No, okay, I am on the trolley now. So I spent an average of 28 minutes a day on social media apps. That was like a long walk for a short drink of water maybe, but that's interesting. So comparing it back to this, so this said 13 minutes total, which no, it wasn't. It wasn't that. That is how I spent my time over the last 7 days. I'm not mad at it. I got a lot done. I was really busy with acting pursuits, which is great. I mean, going to a callback, I feel like my callback went pretty well too. And whether or not I get in, I'm happy either way. Getting a show up and running, we're opening on Friday, so that makes sense. I would like the visual media content to go down, just watching less YouTube and things. Yeah, writing needs to go up, visual media content needs to go down. So I think the time, there's a way I can kind of trade one for the other, I think. I do want to challenge myself at some point to do a week completely off social media. So the, I guess, average 30 minutes a day that I was doing, I would like to try to not do any social media. I do want to get my show up and running and probably close my show too, so that I'm not marketing it anymore, because I use social media to market my shows. That'll probably be when I do a challenge like that. So why did I film this video for you? I think mainly to inspire you to check in on how you're spending your time. If I look at the time I'm spending and then think about the goals that I have for the year, is that in alignment? So I want to be reading 20 books for pleasure, and I was able to finish 2 in the last week because I was spending that 10 hours on reading. I spent that time on content creation, which is great because my goal is to upload at least 2 YouTube videos per month. So I was able to get a YouTube video uploaded this week. I wanted to be in a production, an acting production, and I'm spending my time doing that. So these are all things, it's nice, you know, that when I look at that visual media consumption and I think to myself, I know that this app, I didn't differentiate between different types of streaming services or different types of content. I know one of my goals is to watch 75 movies. I only watched 1 movie. So it's like, hey, if you're gonna watch visual media, if you're gonna take in visual media, maybe don't watch things that you've seen a million times. How I Met Your Mother, you know, like watch a movie so that you can take in that a new story, like something that you can recommend to people. And I really like exposing myself to different types of movies. Over these last couple of years, I mean, I've seen like 180, 190 movies that I've never seen before because of goals like watching 75 movies, or before it was watching 100, but I lowered it. So like this week I watched The Menu, which, oh my gosh, highly recommend. I actually recommended it to my friend Andrea, and then she watched it that night and was like, oh my God, this is so great. So it's for reasons like that, you know. And then seeing where am I falling short? Like if my goal is to finish my first draft of my novel by mid-February and I only spent an hour and a half on it this week, like I've got to put more time and energy into that. It's holding myself accountable, honestly. There we go. That is why I did this challenge, and I think it's going to be interesting to check on it in April and see, how is my life different? Are my priorities changing? How am I also honoring myself and taking care of myself, making sure that I'm still moving my body, making sure I'm still getting enough sleep, and spending that 3 hours, maybe 4 hours every week on a Sunday prepping my food for the rest of the week. Because oh my gosh, the fact that I've done that 2 Sundays in a row has been amazing. I keep thanking my past self for doing that. And actually today is meal prep day and I still have food left over from last week. I have not touched my lentil soup because I still had food left over from the previous week. So I'm not making as much today. I did actually go to the farmer's market with Tyler though, which is really, really nice. So I have some nice fresh Brussels sprouts and raspberries. After I finish filming this video, I'm going to do that meal prep and I feel really good. I know it's only January 8th, so we're only a week into the new year, but I still feel energized. I still feel like I'm on top of my goals, and I like that I was holding myself accountable. So hopefully I can keep that integrity up, even, well, that I hope I just have integrity when I'm not tracking my time, because that is a huge accountability buddy right there. Even though it's you doing it, it's like, hey, Big Brother's watching, you know? I hope you found this video interesting. If you have any questions about why I'm doing it or anything like that, leave them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more productivity types of videos, goal setting and goal achieving types of videos. Oh, I got my degree. Woo! Finally, I got that email 2 days ago that my degree has officially posted. So if I do go back, or if you go back and watch the Getting My Life Together for 2023 video where I'm like, I will have my degree, I do now. It happened. Yes. All right. Anyway, that's that little mini update. But yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.